Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 testing. Yes, indeed, we're here with some Queen and the Crone early access. Going to be doing some testing today. Big thanks to Jonathan of Total Brohammer for helping me out with this testing. Of course, I'll have a link to his channel down in the description below. So yeah, today we're going to be taking a look at some Dark Elves versus Chaos testing. So I wanted to test a few things. First, I wanted to test how Sisters of Slaughter perform against armored Chaos Infantry. So we've got quite a few units of these nasty gladiatrices. We've also got the Regiment of Renown, Blades of the Blood Queen. These are the Hargoneth Executioners. We're going to be testing them against Chosen with great weapons since they're pretty close in terms of price. You've also got the Sisters of Seeing Doom, going to be testing them against the Demon Spew just for giggles. This isn't necessarily the best test. I mean, they are pretty close in terms of price, but yeah, we can see the engagements already getting underway here, and the Blades of the Blood Queen, or sorry, the Sisters of Seeing Doom just getting absolutely mashed by the Demon Spew there, and their armor and combat stats definitely showing. Obviously, the poison counts or something there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Sisters here. So we've got Sisters matched up against Chosen with great weapons, Chaos Warriors with great weapons, and Forsaken. Now, the Forsaken will definitely do a lot of damage because of their high weapon strength, but once the Sisters of Slaughter high melee defense starts to kick in, they should be able to pull that fight back. Chaos Warriors with great weapons, meanwhile, is a very even fight. Of course, this isn't exactly cost-effective for Sisters of Slaughter. They're, you know, about 300 points more expensive, give or take. Meanwhile, the Chosen with great weapons, as expected, definitely cleaning shop there. Meanwhile, over here, we're about to get this engagement underway. Jonathan wasn't quite ready, so we're going to reform there a little bit. We're also going to be testing the Knights of the Ebon Claw. This is the Regiment of Renown Cold One Dread Knights. We're going to be testing them against some Chaos Knights with lances. So, yeah, let's watch as these Blades of the Blood Queen clash with Chosen with great weapons here. It's going to be a pretty even exchange so far. You can see in terms of the engagement here. Unfortunately, these Sisters of Slaughter, this test got a little bit messed up because the Chosen got involved there, but they're going to pull away, and we'll see if we can stabilize. This Sisters of Slaughter did beat these Forsaken, but that wasn't exactly a cost-effective engagement. The Murderous Prowess / Murderous Mastery is kicking off now, so that is going to make a difference in quite a few of these fights, but you can't really test without Murderous Mastery / Murderous Prowess going off, so that's a decent test still, I think, to have that go off partway through the battle, because it is something you can expect to happen at some point. But you can see, once the charge bonus wears off here, the Chaos Knights with Lances are going to struggle to get through the very high melee defense of the Knights of the Ebon Claw. They have actually 56 melee defense. Their armor-piercing damage will come into play there as well. You can see Blades of the Blood Queen are beating those Chosen with great weapons, particularly with that Murderous Mastery, of course. And meanwhile, over here, the Sisters of Slaughter, and this is one thing I noticed, those of you who watched my Grimgore versus Hellebron replay probably have noticed the same thing, that Sisters of Slaughter in a late game situation, because they have high melee defense and that extra little buff gives them some extra goodies, can be tough to take out. But yeah, you can see the Knights of the Ebon Claw did win out there, as did the Blades of the Blood Queen. So, yeah, pretty good. And now, just to cap things off, we're going to see how quickly Hellebron destroys Sigvald. So, Sigvald the Magnificent in here, looking at Hellebron all sweet-like. They're going to get their dance going. And, yeah, we popped the buffs for Hellebron here. So you can see she's got Heroic, Killing Blow, and Witch Brew. And, yeah, so far, Sigvald's actually dishing it out pretty well. Of course, Hellebron has almost no armor and relatively low melee defense, so Sigvald will actually be able to do some damage to her. The question is, I mean, he has his auric armor and everything. Can she do enough damage to get through his regeneration? So let's watch as this unfolds here. Chosen with great weapons fighting some Sisters of Slaughter over there. That test is all but over. Chosen with great weapons definitely won. But Sisters of Slaughter against the Chaos Warriors were traded well. It wasn't exactly cost effective, but considering they're up against an unarmored unit, and okay, it looks like Hellebron's blade is actually popping off there, so at least I think that's what that effect is. But yeah, she is doing quite a bit of damage to Sigvald. Likewise, Sigvald's doing damage to her, but the difference is Sigvald can heal that damage back. That being said, Sigvald's leadership does break at the last second, although it is a very close fight, all things considered. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to fast forward a little bit as Hellebrand chases Sigvald off the field here, and we did come in for one last test here. The very tattered Knights, the Blades of the Blood Queen, coming in against this very tattered Chosen with Great Weapon, mostly just for some beautiful cinematic shots to close out this round of testing here. And keep in mind, guys, that this build is not final. It is an early access build, so things can still change before the final release build comes out. And also, take testing like this with a grain of salt always anyway, because it's not always indicative of how things will actually play out in battle. I mean, there's magical buffs, all sorts of other crazy stuff that can happen, you know, engagements with supporting troops. I mean, very rarely will you have engagements kind of happen in a glass box like you would see in testing. But yeah, these tests can inform us a little bit about how we can expect units to perform, particularly the Blades of the Blood Queen. I'm very impressed with. They were able to handle a unit of Chosen with Great Weapons relatively well, and then also almost finish off another unit of Chosen with Great Weapons. Hellebrand's going to come in here, and the Demon Spew, with their high weapon strength, will probably be able to finish her off. We did pop the Witch Brew, Heroic Killing Blow, and all that jazz. But let's see. Hellebrand gets some attacks in here. I mean, obviously the Demon Spew, oh man, look at that splash attack. She just probably hit like 5 or 6 guys on that splash attack. No wonder Hellebrand's so brutal. But she's probably going to be able to hold out now, and the rear charge from the Knights of the Ebon Claw are finishing that off. So a little bit of fun there to round out the last of the testing. We're going to take a look at one more with the Dark Elves new stuff, testing them against the Wood Elves here. Figured it would be interesting to see how Sisters of Slaughter perform against things like War Dancers, and I also wanted to test the these guys, the Doomfire Warlocks, against Wild Riders, because they're kind of in the same price bracket, very similar units. Of course, the Doomfire Warlocks do have support buffs, but I believe they just have worse pure combat stats than the Wild Riders. If we compare here, 42 and it looks like 29 melee defense. These guys have 32 and 22, so yeah, definitely better raw combat stats on the Wild Riders, but they don't have the support buffs. So I'm interested to see how that engagement unfolds. Likewise, I'm expecting the Sisters of Slaughter to beat the War Dancers, but I want to see how decisively they do so. I also want to compare the Regiment of Renowned Witch Elves here, the Sisters of Singing Doom, to regular Witch Elves when they fight the War Dancers, to see how that engagement unfolds. But yeah, we'll go ahead and fast forward just a little bit here, as there will be some repositioning. And now the Doomfire Warlock's going to be clashing here. We are going to use their support buffs, so we're dropping a Soul Blight in here, which does sunder the armor. Not that it matters that much against Wild Riders, but man, I just love those animations where they spray that Fell Flame out of their hands. And yeah, it's going to be pretty even so far. You can see the Wild Riders trading very atrociously all around. Obviously, the Slaanesha's Harvesters are going to do much better here. We do call in the Doom Bolts here. The Wild Riders do win out, but I mean, you would hopefully expect them to. They are slightly more expensive. The Slaanesha's Harvesters, though, did win that pretty decisively, so definitely worthwhile to bring that Regiment of Renown, the extra cost. And yeah, that's pretty much the Wild Riders versus Doomfire Warlocks. Wild Riders are a relatively even trade with the Doomfire Warlocks, so very interesting stuff. We're now going to get the infantry line underway in just a moment here. Any minute now. Here we go. And yeah, She-Elves smashing into each other. Looks like we're actually going to spread things out just a little bit here, so we'll fast forward through that. And yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. I definitely think that previously the Wood Elves would have had the advantage in this matchup, but with some of the new tools, particularly because Sisters of Slaughter, despite being very low armor, do have a missile block chance, I think they're going to be a pretty decent option against the Wood Elves. So let's go ahead and watch these War Dancers clash. Oh man, I love the somersaulting animations, and then the Sisters of Slaughter getting in there with their whips, their little buckler shields, and definitely having a grand old time. Going to be a very flashy combat here, but yeah, you can see no surprise there. The War Dancers are definitely taking the brunt end of that engagement. The Murderous Prowess does pop off here. You can see Witch Elves normally don't trade super cost effectively with War Dancers. It's the War Dancers will actually win that fight just barely. The Sisters of Singing Doom, on the other hand, granted, they are more expensive, 200 points more expensive, but they do win pretty decisively there, whereas the other Witch Elves, it's not quite as one-sided. The Sisters of Slaughter definitely just walked over those War Dancers there, so I think Sisters of Slaughter are going to be a very strong pick against the Wood Elves, as long as you can keep them from getting shot too much and get into the right combat. They'll definitely be powerful. That being said, they are 1,100 points, so they're relatively expensive. So you would expect them to beat War Dancers pretty decisively, but yeah, overall I'm pretty excited about some of the new Dark Elf units. The new units and the new regiments seem to fill some roles that the Dark Elves didn't have. The Dread Knights I'll have to play around with a little bit more, but they seem like they're good in the right situation. Same thing with Sisters of Slaughter and the Doomfire Warlocks. The Regiment of Renowned Executioners, on the other hand, I think are probably going to be good in just about every matchup because of the Guardian ability, and they're just so strong. Their combat stats are so good. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I do have some Norska testing coming up very soon as well, and we're also going to get some High Elf testing in, of course. Let me know what else you want me to take a look at. And yeah, we'll get it going from there. Thank you very much for watching. If you do like this sort of content, feel free to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Keep it right here for more, and we'll see you next time.